Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to be doing a video that is probably going to be somewhat reoccurring on my channel, because as I was kind of preparing for this video and thinking and going back and forth, it kind of got me thinking that as I'm going through my stuff that I'm like, yeah, I've really gotten my money's worth out of you. You're an older product. You're something that I've, used to the point of satisfaction. I'm also sitting here thinking, if I've gotten my money's worth out of you and maybe I'm not using you as much as I used to, or you are an older product, it may behoove me to finally move said product out of the collection. So as I've been doing the shop my stashes, I'm going to be doing these makeup I've gotten my money's worth out of. I really want to sit and think and do that psychoanalyzation of why I'm keeping something, and if it really is to the point of, can I get rid of it? Because I have been thinking a lot about the makeup that I have in my collection and the stuff that I do really use and love, and I'm finding it really redundant to hold on to these things that I've held on for either collector purposes, or maybe I'll eventually use it, or it used to be an old favorite, whatever reason I have, is that an actually good reason to keep it? So we're probably going to I recently did a declutter, and as I'm doing this, I know that I'm pulling things out for more decluttering, because I'm just really being a lot more honest about what I use and what I love. And I'm really trying to break myself of that. Well, just keep it because you haven't. I mean, the money's been spent. The damage has already been done. So there really isn't a lot of reason. It's just more practical to try to think more critically about this. But today, we are going to be going through some products that I'm like, I've used the absolute shiz out of you. And some things, I think I've done this before. If I have, I will leave it down below. And some things that I have gotten my money's worth out of, I'm going to keep getting my money's worth out of, like the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance, Soft Glam, ColourPop, Main Squeeze, basically any of the monochromatic palettes, which I'm wearing the blue one on my peepers today. Things like that I've gotten my money out of, that I'm going to keep getting my money out of, rather as compared to things that I've gotten my money out of that it's probably time for it to hit the road or the bin or the trash can or passing on to someone else. So we're going to start off with something that I have definitely gotten my money's worth out of, and I'm going to continue getting my money's worth out of until these things dry up and crumble and just completely cease to be viable. And that is specifically 3 shades of the Kat Von D Super 24-hour, the KVD, Kendo Vegan Love Beauty whatever, 24-hour Super Brow Long Wear Pomade. I'm actually wearing the blue one today, but these 3 specifically, these are like the most reached for brow colors. Y'all know that green is my absolute shiz. And you open this up, and I have used and abused this, and it's funny to see how it's still going. It's still kicking. It's still got a crap ton of product in there. And the same goes with these ones. I mean, we have the, I don't even know what, I think this is granite or black or something. The sticker fell off a long time ago, but look at how much I have used. This one's starting to get a little cracked all up on the sides. It's kind of peeling away from the whatever, but I have used so much of this. Oh my goodness. I would love to try to pan this thing, completely use it up. I've been using these basically close to ever since they released, and I've been using this, and that still has that much product in it. And then we have the dark brown, which once again, huge amount of it just completely used up, just all up in there. I mean, looking at these, I get so much satisfaction from yes, I have been using these. These pomades are the only brow product that I use, except when I'm doing a colorful brow, which I have heard, y'all, I will be doing tutorial on my eyebrows soon. But when I'm not using these, when I don't have a color that matches with the kind of wig situation, I just go for, I use a liquid lipstick, and I just use that in the same way that I would use a pomade. But these are definitely, I mean, this, if I swear with the KVD rebranding, if they get rid of these, I will throw the biggest fit that ever lived. Because for someone who is alternative and lends myself towards more extreme drag-esque makeup, having a full coverage carve out brow pomade is a must, especially in a color like green. I've got the purple, I got the pink, I got the blue, I got that beautiful reddy aubergine shade. I use these 9 times out of 10 when I'm doing my brows. This is what I've used. So these are just a lot. This is a beautiful trio of satisfaction. And something else that brings me a lot of satisfaction, specifically for like one shade, that whenever you see shades and you're like, wow, I've really dipped hard into that, you're just like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm getting it. I'm using it up. Whereas back in the day, I used to be like, mustn't use it too much lest we run out. But the Kat Von D Interstellar palette. This is like OG. This is still Kat Von D. This ain't KVD. But this is an OG. And this was like my tried and true, my absolute love in my early like baby bat goth days. And y'all probably can't see, but there is, yeah, you can't see. But there is a big old dip all up in this black. KVD for the longest time had my end-all be-all formula for a black eyeshadow, and this was the one. Even if I wasn't using this entire palette for a look, I would reach for this black, because it was just smooth, it was pigmented, it blended like a dream. Like I've used this so much. And some of the other shades, this purple here, I got a huge dip in. This one, I've used these 3 up here a lot. Now, this is where we're starting to get into the like potential declutter situation, because any of y'all who've been on here in the beauty whatever for a while, y'all know this palette is old as shiz. Like, I got this back when it was still sold in Sephora, and I'm pretty sure that was pre-Sarai's YouTube days, so that's at least 5 years ago. And so I need to come to the conclusion of like, you know, you're old. I probably shouldn't be putting you on my face. I have used you. I've used and abused you. I'm sure I've got these colors, you know. Have we reached the point of separation to where I need to declutter this? Because I have been thinking a lot in going through my makeup rotation and stuff like that. I've been thinking, a lot of me wants to really, like, there's a part of me that wants to hardcore declutter my palettes and just, excuse me, burp squad, and just really not start from scratch, but really completely cut out all the ones that are old, all the ones that I don't use, you know, look and be like, okay, I got these 5 green palettes, this one can go. But then there's the part of me that's like, hold on to it, you paid for it, use it. But I've gotten my money's worth out of this one, and this one probably needs to be decluttered, if for nothing else, the sake of sanitization. Then another tried and true used and abused palette. I've probably talked about this one in my other makeup I've gotten my money's worth out of, but we have reached a point with the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette that I probably need to let her go. I mean, I got this on that original launch, and y'all know that was a while too, and I got a lot of use out of just Peachy, bless her heart, Bellini, all of these mattes going on here. Puree was a favorite. I really loved Tempting, but like the Interstellar palette, this is old. It's old, and there's no point in it holding retail space in my collection. If one, I'm not reaching for this. I can't tell you the last time I reached for this palette. It's not even in my top 10 favorite palettes no more, you know, and it's old and I'm not reaching for it. And like I said, like that Interstellar one, I'm like, have we reached the point of this needing to go? Which we probably have. I just need to be more honest with myself and more cutthroat, because this is something that if I decluttered, I wouldn't even offer it to friends and families. I wouldn't try to sell it or nothing. This would just go right in the trash, and I wouldn't feel like I was wasting nothing. Number one, because I've gotten a crap ton of use out of this, and number two, it's old. You don't want to give anyone makeup that is so old that it might cause a problem, whatever, it doesn't perform like it used to. And that's what I'm noticing with this, as well as some of the Kat Von D ones, is they just don't perform like they used to. And I'm really doing myself a disservice by holding on to these things that just, they aren't enriching my makeup life, my makeup journey. They're not doing anything for me at this point. So like I said, y'all probably gonna see another declutter or a mini declutter or whatever, because with some of these, I'm just reaching that rationality that I didn't used to have when it came to decluttering my makeup. Okay, let's talk about some things that I've gotten my money's worth out of that makes me happy, but I am gonna continue getting my money's worth out of this because these are a lot more viable. But two of the Jeffree Star mini palettes, the first of which being Mini Breaker, which in all honesty, I reached for this one more than the original Jawbreaker because I feel like this palette is just so beautifully concise. I've just taken this double scoop shade here and then deepened it up with Hot Fudge, and then we take Slice all up in there and we call it a day. I reach for it constantly for basically the purples and a pink. I mean, can you see the beautiful imprint wearing away we have done on this Foreplay shade? And it doesn't look like it, but I've gone way in on Purple Punch and Oral here. I mean, this is just such a beautifully concise little mini palette that I know for a fact I have used and gotten so much use out of it, even though it don't even look like it. But I reach for this for on its own. I reach for it for when I'm doing a purple or a pinky look and I need a little something extra. I love this shade all up in here, or even in the inner corner if you're doing something like this all up in here. It is just an absolutely beautifully curated palette, and I hope he continues to do more of these. That's not just this and this. Now this one is the Mini Controversy, and my main reason for getting my use out of this one is honestly just one shade. Can you see in Exposed how much of that imprint is used up? Whenever I'm doing a purple look, I love Exposed and Flat Earth for blue and purple looks, for you to start out with that really soft definition shade where you still want color, but you don't want to start off with that deep dark whatever. You need to set it down. And I have used the ever-loving shiz out of Exposed. It is probably one of my most used purple shades since it was released. It's so pretty, it's pigmented, it blends well, and like I said, it's like the colorful version of those throwaway little setting shades that you get, because it's like a setting shade for a color lover, and I really love both of these for that. I've also gone in on Canceled, My Boyfriend's Purse, not so much, you know, these. I have gone into Cry on My Couch a bit, as well as Diet Root Beer and Controversy. You know, once again, I feel like these little mini ones are just so much more concise, or so much just easier to use, and these are two of the best pastel shades I have ever used in my life. They're better than the Kat Von D Pastel Goth or anything like that. Even some of the shades in like the ColourPop ones, the lighter shades, these two I've just completely used and abused. And if for nothing else, these two shades I've gotten my money's worth out of, and I'd be totally okay with that. Might as well talk about a Too Faced item that I've gotten my money out of, because I feel like Soraya of today just isn't buying a lot of Too Faced, especially a lot of Too Faced eyeshadow palettes, because I have come to the realization that their eyeshadow formula wouldn't even be in my top 5. Probably wouldn't even, probably wouldn't even be in top 8. It's just not one of my favorites. So whenever they release an eyeshadow palette, as boring or as exciting as the color story might be, I'm just not vibing with it, because I would rather get, you know, there's Jeffree Star, there's ColourPop, there's Melt when they do it right, Anastasia when they do it right. You know, there is a myriad, a plethora of other eyeshadow palettes on the market that are just a superior formula to what Too Faced has been doing. But a formula that is good, and a formula that does need to get more use out of me. This is probably going to be pulled into a makeup rotation soon. The Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes. Now y'all know your girl loves matte shadows. It is just my thing. And so you got this big old beautiful peachy, orangey, reddy, whatever. It does have two kind of throwaway giveaway shades going on there. I have created all matte looks with this, with using these two shades all up in here to kind of really brighten and open up that eye. And for a long time, I was hardcore using this, you know, like I was recommending it, I was using it, I was vibing with it. And then obviously as you get more makeup and as you try more things and as you learn that Too Faced really just is a packaging company that occasionally puts viable makeup in it, you kind of move on and you kind of do different things and all of that. But this was something that I did really love. And I feel like if I'm going through and I'm decluttering, y'all would have seen I decluttered my chocolate bars and stuff like that. You know, this is something that if I declutter all of the unnecessary whatever kerfuffle in my collection, then this would be something that would be like, hey, what's up? This is your color story. This is your jam. This is matte-tastic. I would get more use out of this, but from purchasing it to now, I had a time where I was hardcore using it, and I definitely got my money's worth out of it, especially compared to a lot of other Too Faced palettes that I've purchased, like the chocolate gold, what's his name, Clover palette, you know, chocolate bars and all those other things that I've purchased. This is probably one of the best eyeshadow palettes that Too Faced had ever released. Something else is something that I've gotten my money's worth out of, that I'm going to continue to get my money's worth out of. I mean, it's a glow kit. I mean, y'all gonna be prying them glow kits out of my cold, dead hands. I have all of them. I probably shouldn't. I love all of them in a myriad of ways, but this is the sugar one, which I think, yeah, this is the one they released. There was like the sweets one that had the shade marshmallow and gumdrop and I think butterscotch. But that was a limited edition job, and so they re-released this one, but they put Starburst in it, which is from one of the original two, the Gleam Glow Kit. And I love this. This is probably my favorite one. If not, it's definitely in the top 3 going on there, because y'all know I love the Aurora and the Moonchild one. But this one is just a wee bit more natural, a wee bit more everyday. And this kit will take me from the palest of palest with this beautiful marshmallow shade. There we go. I have used this so much. It is a perfect pale person, light champagne-y gold shade without being like gold. And then, you know, we're getting into whatever, we're kind of warming it up. We go to Starburst over here. Then in the summertime, when your girl is looking less pasty, we got Gumdrop and Butterscotch. Or if you want to make them more viable now, you just mix them up with this one. I love this kit, and I have gotten so much use out of it. I should probably, this is something, let me know if y'all would like to see some kind of at least project. I try not to say project panning because that stresses me out. If you want to see some like hardcore project use up, at least, you know, things where I'm just like, you know, trying to get as much use of them as I can without being like, well, I gotta pan this shiz by the end of the year. Because I do rotate my makeup so much, you know, there is, you know, like I said, I rotate it, so I'm like, all right, we're not using this anymore, we're moving on to the next thing. But I could have a little basket of stuff where I'm like, okay, you know, even amidst the stuff that you've got that you're rotating, pulling out for your Shop My Stash, I could still have a little bin of stuff that's just like, well, this year we're trying to really use this up. So let me know if that's something y'all would be interested in seeing. Then if we're talking about makeup that I've gotten my money's worth out of, we have to talk about at least one of the Urban Decay Vice palettes. Now these fall into the same thing as that Kat Von D and the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette as those, where these, I've gotten my use out of them probably partially because I've had them for so long. You know, how they don't do Vice palettes no more. And I remember vividly going into Ulta, I think it was Ulta, with my best friend Cameron, and we went all in on this, and that was quite a few. That's when he and I were still dressing up and going out. We don't do that no more because we're tired old people. And whenever I go out to see my friends, I'm always like, I have great intentions. I'm like, I'm gonna dress up, I'm gonna be so fancy. And then the day comes and I'm like, and wearing leggings and a t-shirt again. But this one, I am not sure what name it is, what number it is, But this was my main, back when I was still kind of, when I didn't have eyebrows, when I shaved them off, and I was doing the Visual K eyebrows and the Visual K makeup looks, I used this row to death. I'm sure I've talked about this before. Can you see? Probably not. The dip that I have made in this alien shade right here. Because what I would do is I would just take this, slather it all up in here, put that in the crease, put that in the bottom, and then highlight with that shiz and call it a day. I would even use this shade to like highlight my lips. I'd do a little whatever and boop, boop, boop. And then when I wasn't using these shades here, I was using this Freeze shade and this Dragon shade, you know, didn't touch the mattes. But you know, if you're thinking about, you know, if you're even like, you know, say you bought an Urban Decay single shadow and you're like, all right, that's 20 bucks and that's 20 bucks. How much I've used those in the years of owning this, I have gotten my money's worth out of this. And if I'm just holding on to this thing for those shades, I am sure at this point in the eyeshadow game, in my eyeshadow collection, I can dupe those. I'm sure I have those. I really need to do some deep thinking, some psychoanalyzation of being like, okay, you're holding on to this because it's a Vice palette, or you could like, you know, get rid of it because you have something else and free up space in your drawer so everything actually fits. So doing this makeup I've gotten my money's worth out of is really helping me trying to figure out what I actually want to have in my collection and what I'm actually using, because I can't tell you how many times these Vice palettes have made it through declutter and I'm like, oh, you're so pretty. I loved you at one point. I should keep using you. And then I never do, because if I'm reaching for pinky ready tones, I have a myriad. All right, I made the decision now. Y'all can clock me whatever. I'm decluttering this. This has to go because I've got all these shades in palettes I own and love. I have made the decision. This is going. Something that's a product that I think is kind of easy to get your money's worth out of. I feel like when you've got like eyeshadow and face products and your lipsticks and stuff like that, sometimes it takes a longer, more extended time for you to actually be like, yep, I have reached the point where it was totally worth that $50 I spent on it. Whereas things that are like foundation and powder and blush and things, primer, I've gone through so many primers, things that you're using every day and not so much rotating. Obviously, it's easier to get your money's out of it because you're using it. But two powders right here, and especially, I love this so much. This is the Milk Makeup Blur Plus Set Matte Loose Setting Powder. There was a time where I was just using this. I love this powder so much. Cannot recommend it enough. And it feels really good to use products like this. I had a rude awakening when I received a sample, little teeny tiny baby sample of the Cover FX loose powder, and I was like, I'm gonna use this up. This is gonna be easy. And it took me like 2 months of hardcore using it every single day to use up a little sample of a powder about yay big. So imagine how long it's gonna take me to use up one of these whole ones, and these aren't the only ones that I have. So we have talked about that loose setting powder is one thing that I do not need to buy any more of. I am good. But this is also the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. These, this one, and this one, and the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder are my 3 most used setting powders, and I'm sure I've gotten my use out of all 3 of them. It would suck if they like disappeared tomorrow because you still have a crap ton of product left, but because you have a crap ton of product, it's real easy to reach that threshold of, yeah, I've reached the point where I have used you so blinking much, especially, I mean, this one you can even see where it's like, you can see there's some work done on there, whereas this one's, you know, not as much. But I'm just really starting to like change up, you know, my makeup game and how I feel and how I whatever and how I vibe with makeup. Y'all know this, you've been on me with my journey from being the absolute worst / best consumer to being a lot more particular, a lot more research-based, a lot more realistic when it comes to makeup and what I want it to do for me. I want it to work for me, not me to work for it. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I feel like this is just a fun way for me to really look into my collection and really think more realistically about what I've been using and what's just sitting there for one reason or another. And if I have gotten my money's worth out of it, and if I have, and it's old, and I'm not using it, you know, why haven't I cut that umbilical cord yet? Because I have commitment issues and I'm very committed to my makeup, even if it isn't the most committed to me. But that's why we're here on this journey. There are gonna be more of these. Obviously, we're gonna have some kind of whatever declutter going on as I make those harsh, hard realizations, and we make those good decisions for ourselves. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on these products down below, as well as something that you've used and abused and you've gotten your money's worth out of it, and whether it's something that's old that you may need to think about getting rid of, or it's something that you've still gotten so much use out of it and you're going to be able to get so much more out of it. I mean, it is such, I have switched from being like, I don't want to use any of this, I don't want to use it up, to getting so much satisfaction from getting a lot of use out of it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!